I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cindy.
And we're here with another Feeding Frenzy for the Master Key System, and we're on part 3, number 14.
Non-resistant thought expands the solar plexus.
Makes sense.
Resistant thought contracts it.
Makes sense.
Pleasant thought expands it. Unpleasant thought contracts it. Thoughts of courage, power, confidence, and hope all produce a corresponding state. But the one archenemy of the solar plexus, which must be absolutely destroyed before there is any possibility of letting any light shine, is fear. This enemy must be completely destroyed. He must be eliminated. He must be expelled forever. He is the cloud which hides the sun, which causes a perpetual gloom. Wow. Didn't get much clearer than that.
No, it doesn't. But it makes perfect sense.
Do you believe it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I can feel that solar plexus freeze in fear. Can't you?
Yep.
Because
Like
where's
it
I
just
feel it
shuts down.
first? You know, that's where I feel it first, just in my stomach. You know, it tightens up. And oh, yeah, I can feel that taking place. So, yeah, that makes perfect sense to me.
Wow.
You know, and when I'm entertaining positive thoughts or thoughts where I can do this and I've got confidence and that kind of stuff, I can feel myself opening.
And expanding. Not,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and just filling the universe almost, you know. Wow. So fear is the number one culprit to hide our energy or our light. So how do we get rid of fear?
But I think you've got to look at why the fear is there and address it.
Okay. How do I do that? How do I figure it out?
Well, I guess it just depends
Depends
on
on
what
what
the
the
fear
fear
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are a fire walker.
Yes.
How did
You
that
are
help you? How did that help you overcome your fear? Or why walk on fire to begin with?
Because it was a great exercise in facing that fear. It also helped me see that literally fear is just a veil. It is not something that I can't conquer. It is something that, yes, it takes quite a bit of effort and I have to have faith and I've got to take that first step. But once I do, it's done. You know what I'm saying? So it was an excellent physical representation of being able to overcome it. Something that I didn't think I could do. You know, I had a lot, when I went to my first fire walk, I had a lot of things running through my mind, you know, like there's a possibility of burning, and what if I fail, and how am I going to look? And so I was bombarded by a lot of fear in that one moment. But then when I gathered up the courage and took that first step, it was like right through it I went, you know. And then there was that conscious thought that is always a couple of steps behind and went, wait a minute, did you just do what we think you just did? You know, I had to let that conscious thought catch up. But it is literally stepping up to the plate and taking that first step where each fear, and it's different for each one. So I literally think it is a constant battle because you have to face it because each fear is different. Even though it's the same emotion, it feels the same, and getting through it is the same. My perception of it is different.
Right.
So I have to meet it, each one of them.
Yeah. So even though we walked on fire many times, each fire was different.
Each fire was
had
different.
its own different fear.
And each one brought up different fears in me. You know, it became less and less. This is about fire and, you know, the temperature and what's going to happen if I burn and that kind of thing.
Right.
You know, I conquered that first fear after the first fire walk. But every time I got to it, the next time, it was a different fear or a different set of fears that came up.
And you know, the thing that keeps popping in my head as you talk is, I remember most of the fire walks that I've been to, which I've been to several, the person that walked first, if they had walked before, it was a much calmer fire walk than if it was somebody who had never walked before. There were only a couple of times when somebody who had never walked before went first. And when they did, they had more fear.
Yes.
And everyone following seemed to have more fear. It was almost like we followed the leader. And as soon as we see somebody do it successfully, we're like, oh, I can do that. And the whole thing is calmer. But if somebody goes across and not very successfully, it's like we all panic.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting as to how we base what we can do on what others can do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we rarely go at a fear as the first one.
True.
And
we
with
watch
more
others
confidence.
first. Yeah.
We watch others first. Or if we do go, we rarely have a whole lot of confidence like we would if somebody else had gone first.
That's true.
So it's interesting to me. If I would just remember that I should have as much confidence doing this, whether I'm the first person to do it or the last, you know, to have that kind of confidence and just even fool myself into thinking, well, plenty of people have done this, you know. Or if it's the first time for me, but I know other people have done it, just if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it would be nice to get rid of all the fear in my life. Have you done that, or are you still working on it? Or what?
No, I'm still working on it. I work on it every day. Just about every day there's a new fear that pops up. Or one that I hadn't quite conquered yet will come back. You know,
But you're getting better.
Constantly, yes.
You have fewer?
I have fewer fears. I do.
Good.
I do.
I think I do too. I don't notice them as much. It doesn't grip me as much.
Yeah.
When I feel fear, I don't let it paralyze me
Exactly.
like it used to.
Yeah.
So I think that's because of the firewall.
I
I've
think
learned
we've-
how to deal with
Exactly.
fear.
I think we've gone up to the plate enough that we've gotten a little bit of confidence behind us. So
Yeah.
makes it easier.
Good. Wow. Wow, that's cool to know, though, that that's the way we hide our life.
It's through fear. You know, as I have matured a little into this thinking, more along the lines of what is my responsibility in this life, and I look back on some of the thoughts and beliefs that I was raised on, I look at the role of the devil in my life, and I can literally exchange that word for fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And it walks hand in hand.
I hadn't thought of that.
It walks hand in hand for me. You know.
Yeah.
So whenever I hear somebody say something like "the devil made me do it," I think fear made me do it.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's good
So
stuff.
I'm working on that. But that was a new one. I thought, you know, those walk hand in hand for me now.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Good
It's
stuff.
good stuff.
Strange.